Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jim with Doesn't Pay Full Price, and if you're looking for the perfect side dish to bring to your next pool party, cookout, or just something easy to make at home that's different from what you've been making, then I've got the thing for you. This dish only has 4 ingredients and takes less than 30 minutes to make. I brought this to a cookout last week that was filled with good food, like char-grilled oysters, street corn, but this was the thing that everyone was talking about. Today we are making miso butter potatoes, so you're gonna wanna stick around. Typically, I always have russet or Idaho potatoes on hand, but I wanted to switch it up a little bit this week, and I found these guys on sale. These are little petite golden potatoes, so I've been playing around with some different recipes with them. First thing we're gonna do for this is to cut these in half. Just take a knife, slice them right down the middle the long way. This is gonna help speed up the cooking time and help this recipe go by a lot faster. Some of these potatoes are a little past their prime. See these little brown spots, but that's fine, not gonna hurt anything here. After these are all cut, we're gonna throw them in a pot and cover it with cold water. You don't wanna throw these right into boiling water because then it's gonna cook the outside before the inside gets cooked. If you throw them in cold water first and then bring it up to a boil, everything's gonna cook a little bit more evenly. Once they're all cut in half, and then get them over high heat for about, I would say 10 to 15 minutes. Check them after 10 minutes. If the fork goes in smooth and comes out clean, then they're done. If they're a little underdone, it's okay, because we're gonna cook these a second time later. Oh hey, welcome behind the scenes. See, I got a normal sized pot with potatoes in it right here. This is where all the real food's getting cooked. And then I've got this little show pot with just a few potatoes in it, because this pot is about 1/3 the size that it looked like online. But if you wanna buy it, link is in the description below, because it is still kind of cool, and they make bigger sizes, just FYI. Real food, show food. One more thing I forgot to mention, I do like to add about a teaspoon of salt to the potatoes while they're boiling. 1, it raises the boiling temperature of the water, so it helps the potatoes cook a little faster. 2, it just helps the potatoes taste a little bit better. All right, it's been about 10 minutes. These potatoes are done in their little potato hot tub, and we're gonna take them over here to drain. Remember, we're cooking these a second time, so once they're just barely tender, that's perfect. Drain the water off. Then we're gonna let these cool while we make our miso sauce. If you let them get overcooked now, then they're just gonna be mush later. So this is the miso butter that's gonna coat all of our potatoes, and it's only 3 ingredients. I've got 1 tablespoon of regular old white sugar, 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter. You're gonna wanna use unsalted, I'll tell you why in a second. And then I have 1 tablespoon of white miso paste. Now with miso, the darker in color it gets, the longer it's fermented. So it typically starts with white miso paste and goes all the way up to red. The flavors tend to get more intense the deeper in color you go. I like to stick with the white miso, but use whatever you like. And miso tends to be a little salty, hence why we're using unsalted butter here. I'm also gonna taste this at the end once we put all these ingredients together. If it needs a little bit more salt, then we can just add a little bit of salt at the end. You could leave the butter out at room temperature till it gets nice and soft, then just combine all the ingredients in a bowl. Or if you just took your butter out of the fridge like me, you could throw it inside a little bowl. I'm just gonna microwave this until it gets nice and soft, maybe about 20-30 seconds or so. You could even go all the way until it's melted and then mix all the ingredients together. It really doesn't matter. Once this miso butter hits hot potatoes anyways, it's gonna melt, so just make it easier on yourself. All right, note to self, 30 seconds in the microwave was a little too long. It produced melted butter, it's gonna work just the same. All right, so miso paste goes in. Sugar goes in. Use a spoon, a fork, whatever you happen to have. Let's just kind of mix those two together just for a second. Not trying to be like that other guy, by the way, that uses a tiny whisk. I just happen to have one. It came with a thing that I bought, and it just kind of works good for this. Actually, I feel like it doesn't. I feel like a fork would just be way better, because now it's all in my whisk. Give that a good mix in for about 20 seconds or so, and then we're good to rock and roll. Don't forget to give this a taste, by the way. Ooh, yeah. It's good, but it actually needs a little bit of salt. So we're just gonna add some salt. This should taste salty. Not too salty, but like right at the edge of too salty. Remember, those potatoes are like a really bland sponge, so you're gonna want this to be extra salty because this is all the flavor that they're gonna get. All right, here's the thing. You could do this ahead of time, leave both of these things separate in the fridge 2-3 days, put it together when you're ready, or we could pour this on these potatoes right now and it would taste fire, but we're gonna take this to another level. I'm gonna split this in half and do these 2 separate ways. If you have an air fryer, go ahead and crank that baby up to 400, get your basket, spray a little bit of non-stick spray in there, and then we're gonna put half the potatoes in the basket. Keep it in one even level so you get maximum crispiness. Spray the potatoes just a little. Go ahead, throw them in the air fryer, 10 minutes, 400 degrees. I'll see you when this comes out. 10 minutes has gone by, our potatoes look amazingly crispy and golden brown, and these bad boys are ready to get miso buttered. Ooh, these are looking really good and crispy. If you don't have an air fryer, by the way, you could easily just do this in the oven. Throw the broiler on as high as it'll go, put the potatoes on a cookie sheet, and just throw them under there, and then every 5 minutes or so, just toss them around. That way they get nice and crispy on all sides, and they'll come out just the same. But we still have half these potatoes that we haven't cooked, and we're gonna take these on a little road trip. But before we do, yeah, you know, just a little bit for the road. I'm taking these potatoes on a little road trip up to the rooftop where I've got a grill already hot and ready to go. I'm gonna give these potatoes just a little bit of oil too so they don't stick to the grates. Then just throw them on the grates. Make sure that your potatoes are bigger than the space in between the grill grates, or this method will not work well for you and you'll lose your precious potatoes into the deep abyss. I like to give them about 5 minutes on one side, flip the potatoes over, give them 5 minutes on the other side, but every grill has different hot spots, so make sure to move them around just to prevent them from getting burnt. We've got grilled potatoes, we've got air fryer potatoes. All that's left now is to toss these up in a bowl with our miso butter and serve. So into a mixing bowl, I'm gonna throw in these air fryer potatoes first. Then we're gonna throw in our grilled potatoes. Then we're just gonna grab a spoon, throw in a big old dollop of our miso paste. You might not need it all, so start with a little bit and then you can always add more. Or just make extra, save it in the fridge, and you can toss any kind of vegetable in it, put it on meat, whatever, and just toss it all together. Once the butter hits those potatoes, it starts to melt. Then you get these shiny, perfectly glazed, coated potatoes. Don't forget to taste one, make sure it's got enough salt on it. It could use a little bit more. I like to just finish them off with some super flaky sea salt. This is absolutely perfect as it is, but if you felt like it, you could always top this off with some toasted sesame seeds, a little bit of green onions, maybe a little chili flakes just to give it a little heat. I'm just saying. But now, we're just gonna put this in a bowl and serve. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you all watching. By the way, this whole recipe costs just this much money. I don't know what it is right now, but we're gonna put it in right thereafter. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at doesn'tpayfullprice. If you haven't, please hit the subscribe button or the like button. Everything helps the channel and helps these videos get seen more. I'm gonna dive into this. I appreciate the hell out of all of you, and I'll see you in the next one. Ooh,